Okay, welcome everyone to our learning how to submit and explore our volunteer stream data webinar. I am Katie Bradford. I'm the program manager for Water Action Volunteers, and I'm joined today by Lily Finkley, who's our UW-Madison student intern. She's going to be helping moderate the webinar. We have a nice small group today, so there'll be plenty of time for you to ask questions. And I definitely encourage you to type any questions in the chat, or you can use the raise hand function to indicate you'd like to ask a question. You're welcome to type in your question, or you can ask to unmute and ask your question that way too. So today we are going to be covering how to submit data to SWIMS. If any of you are returning volunteers, I'm going to be using the newer SWIMS interface, which just launched. Then I'm going to be covering 3 different places that you can explore and download data from. That's basically all surface water data, as well as volunteer collected data. So hopefully this will give you a sense for kind of where all the data goes, how to get access to it, and you will be really comfortable with submitting it as well. So first, since a number of you are likely new to WAVE, just want to, yes, Jane, sorry. You have a question? Can you hear me, Jane? Okay, I'll just keep continuing. If you want to ask a question, feel free to ask it. So I just want to set the stage first about where all the data is submitted, collected by volunteers. It is submitted to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources SWIMS database, which you'll see on the screen here, the Surface Water Integrated Monitoring System database. So basically all surface water data is submitted here, whether it's collected by volunteers or by professionals, biologists, county staff, etc. It all kind of comes to the same place, which is really useful because a lot of the tools we use to explore data pull data from SWIMS that is both volunteer collected data and professionally biologist collected data. And so when you're exploring data in these tools, you're typically exploring all data collected across the state. So as a stream monitoring team, you want one person from your team to have a SWIMS account, log in every month and enter the data that you've collected for that month. We recommend not waiting until the end of the year because there's the chance that you will lose the data that you've collected from previous months. Maybe the data sheet goes missing. Maybe you scribbled a note and you can't read it anymore and you don't remember what that was about. So we recommend entering the data every single month into the SWIMS database. To get set up to enter data into the database, volunteers are assigned a specific stream site, and they're basically given permission to enter data for that site in SWIMS. So you'll have to make an account with the state of Wisconsin, where you'll get what's called a WAMS ID, and then WAVE staff will connect your WAMS ID to the database, to SWIMS. So that's basically how your account in SWIMS gets created. Basically, if you have any questions about this process, email us, the WAVE staff, or give us a call and we will help you through it. You can reach us anytime at wave@extension.wisc.edu. So let's say you've gone out monitoring in May and you're ready to submit data. You start by getting to this home screen of the SWIMS database. Well, how do you get here? The easiest way is to go to our website, wateractionvolunteers.org. I'm going to increase the size of this a little bit. So this is the home page of wateractionvolunteers.org. We have a data tab at the top and a submit data option drops down. You click on submit data. And this is going to give you all kinds of information about submitting data to the SWIMS database, selecting a monitoring site, etc. And to get to that home screen to log into SWIMS, you can just click on this blue button here and it'll take you to the home screen. So this is the home screen you'd arrived at. If you have if we've set up your SWIMS account for you, you'll be able to enter your username and password. You need to check this box that says external users and volunteers. I'm going to zoom in again. Oh, I am zoomed in. Great. And then you can click login. All right. So this is the home page for the SWIMS database. And I'm going to kind of walk you through it. To start, I have a little higher access than volunteers. So for example, you won't be able to see like this people tab, but a lot of things here you will be able to see. And you can come back to this view at any time just by clicking on the DNR logo in the top left, right? So no matter what you click on here, if you want to get back to this view, just click on the DNR logo. Now SWIMS, this is a database. It's not the most user-friendly tool. It's not really intended to be super user-friendly, to be honest. It's a data repository. So it takes some getting used to. And the database organizes surface water data in a particular way. So you have projects, basically all wave data or citizen science collected stream monitoring data is within a project. You also have pretty high level projects for particular watershed monitoring efforts, like for the Milwaukee River watershed, it might have a high level project. And then there's what's called child projects within those higher level projects. And so when you have a monitoring site, your site is going to have a wave project attached to it, essentially. And that's what you're entering data for, is your wave monitoring project for your site. The next level, so we have projects, and then we have stations and SWIMS. So stations are what you're probably familiar with. Every stream monitoring site across the state, every lake monitoring site across the state has a station ID and a station name provided by the DNR. So that is kind of what you're going to find in SWIMS. And a station, like, you know, my station recently, which I'm going to share today, it was Pheasant Branch Creek at Middleton High School. And so that's my station name. My station ID is a particular number, but that station can have a lot of different monitoring projects assigned to it. So it could have a wave monitoring project. It could have an aquatic invasive species monitoring project on it. It could have an E. coli monitoring project on it. There's a variety of different projects that my station can have. So you have projects, stations, and then lastly, fieldwork events, which is basically every time you submit data to SWIMS, you're submitting it for a particular day, a particular event. I went out on May 10th and I did my baseline stream monitoring. I collected that data for that date, and I'm going to submit a fieldwork event to SWIMS for my station for my wave monitoring project. So that's kind of the high level. So what you'll see here is you see my projects, you'll see fieldwork events tab, you'll see a stations tab, and it gives you a brief description of what those are as well. Okay, so if you click on my projects at the top, what you're going to see listed here is any stream site you're monitoring, you're assigned to enter data for. I only have one. Most volunteers only have one stream site. Mine is Pheasant, the station name is Pheasant Branch at Middleton High School. I can read on the right-hand side some project details about it. So this top box here is just listing all the projects I'm a part of. The box down here is telling me the different tasks I can do in SWIMS related to that, related to whatever projects I have. Some people might have 5 different monitoring sites, so they would have 5 projects listed. So I can click here to ask questions about the DNR to the DNR SWIMS team. I can click here to enter data for whatever project I selected, and so on. And then if I want to read more about my stream monitoring site project, I can go to the bottom project details, and I can select project details, and it's already up there. Information is already up there. Actually, what I would recommend, I'll take that back. I'd stick with the tasks box, and you can select project overview here, and it will take you to your monitoring sites project page, and you can read all about, you know, the WAVE monitoring project at your site, and you can explore information like who. If you click on people down here, you can see all the different people who are currently actively able to enter data for that project. You can look at, if you click on the monitoring tab, sorry, it pops up every time I click on a tab. If you click on the monitoring tab, you can look at like, again, it's popping up every time, sorry. You can look at, if you click on the monitoring tab and then click on fieldwork events here, you can see all the fieldwork events that different people assigned to this project have submitted over the years. So I would just suggest you can play around exploring the project overview and all the tabs for your site and just get familiar with it that way. So I had mentioned you can always click on this logo in the top left to get back to your home screen. So I'm going to do that. We're going to get back to our home screen and we pop back here. Let's talk about the next tab up here, which is viewing data. So I'm going to click on view data. And what this is going to show me is all data that either I have submitted or that I have been assigned as a data collector for. So if one of your teammates is the one submitting data, and they can add you as one of the people who helped collect data for that site. And so if you're listed as a data collector, even if you didn't submit the data yourself, you should be able to see all the fieldwork events that have been submitted with your name attached to them. So that is what's going to show up here. And I have submitted a variety of fieldwork events because I did monitoring for a year, and I've submitted fieldwork for someone else as well. So their information is showing up. So we're going to come back to this in a little bit as well. Okay. So the third tab I wanted to share with you is the Submit Data tab. So I'm going to click on it, and this is where you're going to go to submit your data every month. So you click on the Submit Data tab, and this is the screen you get. And then you're going to have to click on this Submit Data button as well. So I'm going to click on that. And this is the page you get to submit information about one fieldwork event. So I went on May 10th, I collected stream data, and now I want to submit a fieldwork event for May 10th. So the first step is selecting the site, basically the monitoring project. And I only have one stream site, so I'm only going to have one project listed. If you have many stream sites, you're going to have many projects listed, and you just have to choose the right one. I'm going to choose that. If you don't see your project listed, it's likely because you have not been added to that stream site to submit data for it. And so you need to email us, and we'll add you to the monitoring project so that you can enter data for it. Next step, choosing your data collectors. So who went out with you monitoring that day? So I'm going to select my husband and I, say we went out monitoring that day. Now, the first time you do this, you're going to have to create a new data collector group. So to do that, you need to click on Find Data Collector. And a little window is going to pop up. Make this bigger. And you're going to have to search for people in SWMS. So you'll already be able to find yourself because you know you're in SWMS, you've been added to the project. So you type in first name, last name, and then in this box here, you're going to see all the people who have that name. And if you want to add them to your group, you click Add here. And it's going to pop up down below with my name as part of this new collector group. And then I also, let's say I want to add my colleague, Emily Heald. I'm going to search for her. Her name pops up. I'm going to click Add. And now Emily and I are a new collector group. And I can hit Create here to create that group. If you're searching and you're not finding the person, it's possible that they don't have an account in SWMS. They'll only show up if they have an account in SWMS. So you'll need to reach out to us to help set up an account for them if you can't find them. The second thing I want to say about this, the last thing, go back into the Find the Data Collector tool, because this is one that's a little more complicated for people to do. I'm going to type in my name again. So you can add people to create a new collector group, or on the right-hand side, there might already be a group of data collectors that matches who went out with you that day. So for example, if Emily, Jake, and I went out monitoring, I don't need to create a new collector group because one with our 3 names already exists. So I hit this arrow and that selects that already existing group. Okay. So I'm going to say that Emily and I went out monitoring. Station, again, this should pre-populate with whatever stream sites that you're assigned to. So just select the right one. Start date, I'm going to say January 1st, middle of winter, because I want to remember to delete this data later because it's fake data. Start time, I'm going to say midnight, again, because I want to remember to delete the data. You're going to have to put in start time and end time. The form also should pre-populate. So this is the WAVE data sheet, basically. It's matching the WAVE data sheet. So you shouldn't have to worry about that. For document here, this is not required, but if you took a photo of your stream site and you want to upload it, this is the tool you would use to upload the photo. And then the last thing on this page to fill in is the fieldwork comments. So this is your stream observations, basically. If there's anything you want to share about what you observed about your stream site on that fieldwork event date, you can type it in here. If you brought some extra people along to observe, you can type that in. A lot of people, are encouraged to write a book here. This is the descriptive context that helps us understand more about the data that you're collecting. So I'm going to say fake WAVE data, just so I remember to delete it again. Okay, so you filled out your main page. You're going to come up here and hit the yellow next button. Now, everything else should be pretty straightforward because it's going to pretty closely match the data sheet. So just like at the top of your data sheet, you're going to have to fill in the weather. So there's the categories for the weather that day. Say it was sunny. Your sampling date, did you go out on the primary date you intended? Did you have to change the date you planned to go out because the flow was high and there's a storm? Let's say we went out on our primary day. Weather over the past 2 days, describe that. Sunny with no precipitation, really hot, whatever you want to say to describe the weather. Current stream condition is another category. Maybe I'll say it was normal. Stream side observations. This is another place, again, where you can describe the stream on that visit. You can put those observations either here or in the fieldwork comments. Both are totally valid places. Air temperature, water temperature, type in those numbers. Remember, it's in units of Celsius. So if you collected it in Fahrenheit, you're going to have to make that conversion. Just type in some numbers here. Keep in mind that at least currently, you're going to need to make sure you're doing your data entry correctly because the system does not basically throw up an error if you write in 4,000 degrees Celsius. It's just going to save that data. So make sure you're being really careful about the numbers that you're entering. Dissolved action sampling method, most of us are using Hotkit, so select that, write in your numbers. For any parameters that you aren't collecting data for, just leave it blank. That is the motto. If you didn't collect it, leave it blank. Because if you enter 0, that is a data value. And so that means pH is 0 if I type in 0 for pH, even if I didn't actually monitor for pH. So leave it blank. Transparency tube length, 120. Type in your values. Let's say we had a 95 for our first trial, 87 for our second. You'll see that the gray lines in SWIMS auto-calculate. So SWIMS will auto-calculate the average of your 2 trials. And then I'm going to leave the rest of these blank because I didn't collect specific conductance or chloride or anything like that. Then you want to hit save. If you hit save and return, it's going to kick you out of your fieldwork event. It's going to return you to your view data page, basically. So you can hit save to stay on the same page. So I've saved, stay on the same page. Or you can hit save and enter flow data to go to the next page. So we're going to go to the next page. This is again where you're going to be filling out what's on your data sheet, StreamFlow. So was StreamFlow monitored? Yes, we monitored today. What method did I use? I used the float method with the tennis ball. If you used a meter or a USGS stream gauge to get flow, so basically you didn't use the float method, you can type in the flow here in cubic feet per second. Just indicate, you know, if you're using a FlowMate meter, for example, or a USGS stream gauge, you can type that in here. So I just wanted you to know, because, for example, my monitoring site on Pheasant Branch Creek had a stream gauge right next to it. So I would just go online to USGS and enter that value when I did my fieldwork event. But let's say we're using the float method. So length assessed is always 20 feet. Stream width, let's say it was, 10 feet. And then you'll see stream measurement 0.1 is always 0. That's on your data sheet. So enter 0. And then you enter your other values in tenths of feet. Whoops, I hit enter and it kicked me back. Don't hit enter. That is the lesson learned there. So enter in all your values, 0.7, go down, etc. 1 foot, 1.5. All right. So you're going to have, if you're measuring every foot, about 10 measurements. Do not fill in zeros again if you did not collect depth measurements, like 20 depth measurements, because 0 is a value. So you'll see that SWIMS is automatically summing your depths. It's automatically calculating your average depth. It's automatically calculating everything. All these gray bars are auto-calculated. So when you're done, you can save and continue. So we're going to save and go to the next page. You won't have to enter thermistor data. So continue, save, and enter biotic index data. So if you did a biotic index in May, all you're doing is saying whether the species is present or not. So you just select whether it's present, and you'll see SWIMS is auto-calculating the biotic index score as I say whether things are present. All right. And then that should be all you're doing for baseline monitoring. You can continue to enter habitat data, but I'm going to assume that we're not doing that today. So let's say I'm all done entering data. I'm going to hit save and return. And this page should be familiar. We've been here before. This is where all data, all field work events that you've submitted or that someone has been submitted with your name attached to it will show up. So you'll see at the very top, this field work event for January 1st, middle of winter, for Pheasant Branch Creek at Middleton High School. My station has been submitted with me and Emily as the data collectors. All right. How do you add a photo is a question that I've gotten. Great question. So let's say we wanted to edit the data that we just submitted on our fieldwork event. What you can do Maybe you came back later. Let's go back to the home page of SWIMS, clicking on the icon here to get back to my home page. I go, if I want to see data I've already submitted and edit it, I can go to the View Data tab. All right, and then I look for the fieldwork I want to edit. So I can, sort by clicking on the headers here. But I want to edit the one we just submitted. So I'm going to click on this green edit icon on the left-hand side in the left column. All right, so let's say I forgot to add the photo. I might need to click update here. Oh, it's not letting, that's interesting. It's not popping it back up. Yeah, weird. It's not popping back up. Well, I will make a note to tell the SWIM staff to fix that error. So if we wanted to add a photo to a site that we've already submitted, what I would suggest is to go to your My Projects tab. Select the site you want to enter the photo for, the data for. Then go here to Tasks, and you're going to say Upload Document, which includes photos. All right, and then you're going to have to fill out this page. You're going to have to give your photo a title, write the name of the person who took the photo, the date the photo was taken. You choose a file from your computer by hitting Choose File. Describe what the photo is of. And then come down here to Project and type in the name of your stream monitoring site. Pleasant Branch at Middleton High School. This tool is a little finicky, but hopefully if you type in the stream name accurately, it'll pop up, and then you select it and hit Create. So that's how you would add a photo to your project, basically, that you're assigned to. If you have questions about that follow-up, you can email us and ask. So the last thing I want to say about SWIMS submitting, editing data is, you can go in and edit data, as I said before, using this icon. You can also completely delete a fieldwork event. Be really careful to do this, but all you do is click this delete icon, which I'm going to do now because I kind of want to get rid of that fake data before I forget about it. And then it'll pop up and say, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I am sure I want to delete it. And then it's gone. So be really careful. You don't want to lose all that data. Okay, I'm going to take a pause. Any questions about submitting, editing, deleting your data? All right, hearing none, we have about another half hour. So for at least part of that time, I want to share with you how to explore stream data, stream and river data. So there are 3 tools. One, I'm going to show you how to do it a little bit in SWIMS. SWIMS is the most complicated, less user-friendly version. I'll start there because I'm already in it. And then I'm going to show you our nifty dashboard on our website. And lastly, I'm going to show you the Surface Water Data Viewer, which is like a mapping tool that you can use to explore data. Okay, so starting in SWIMS, let's go to the home page again by clicking on the icon in the left. Let's say I'm interested in seeing data for a stream site that I am not assigned to. So I think I had one I wanted to look at. Oh, maybe I was just going to do. Yeah, maybe I'll do this one. Okay, so as you've seen in SWIMS, I'm only assigned to that Pleasant Branch Creek. I'm not assigned to anything else. So if I wanted to look at data for Doherty Creek, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I chose a random one. It's called Doherty Creek, south of Meadowbrook Road Bridge. I can't remember which county this is in, if it's Jefferson or Greene County, but what I would do is I would go to the stations box because I want to find the stream site station, and then I'd click find. And all I'm going to do is type in, I could type in Doherty Creek. I could type in the whole thing. Let's see what happens. And then hit enter. Okay, so that search didn't work. Maybe I need to simplify it a little. Doherty, spelling it right? Nope. Don't worry, I'll get there. It helps if you have the station ID, actually. I'm going to type that in. Aha, there it is. Okay, much easier to search by just typing the station name. So I click on the station ID here. And then here is the station. It tells me where it is, the natural community. It's a cold water stream. It's in the driftless region, ecoregion. I can see what watersheds it's in, the East Branch Pecatonica River watershed. So it is over there in probably Greene or Iowa County. I can see all the fieldwork events that have submitted. And you can see the different projects that that site has data for. So looks like Stevens Point has done a macroinvertebrate biotic index, like a taxonomist basically, identified macroinvertebrates to species or family, and did an IBI. There's AIS, aquatic invasive species projects that are being done at this site. And then of course there's WAVE projects as well. So you can see all this information. That is one way to look at data for a particular site in SWMS, and you'll be able to see sites you're not even assigned to. And if you want to see the data itself, you click on the fieldwork event. So let's just pick, let's see, is there any WAVE? I'm going to click on last update date and find the most recent data here. Here we go, most recent data. Doherty Creek. This is probably a WAVE project. So I'm going to click on that. It is a WAVE project. So then you'll see the fieldwork summary, kind of that first page that you fill out. And if you scroll down and click on field results, lab results would be if they collected like a nutrient sample and shipped it to the state lab, and the lab entered the data into SWMS to test for phosphorus or total suspended solids or something like that. If you click on field results, you'll see that baseline data that you're all collecting, and you can read all about it here. There's multiple pages of data. So that is one way to see station data for a site. Now, SWMS is probably the most complicated way to look for data. You can also, in this right-hand corner, download that fieldwork event data. So you click on download, but this is again a little finicky. You have to check this box to select all the boxes. So you get all those fields, then you go to the bottom and you have to say, I want to see all the field results. I want to download all the field results. And then you come back up and you have to check all the boxes. And then you can say, download the data. And then it downloads an Excel file of that fieldwork event data. So you can do it in SWMS, but I'm going to show you two other ways that I think are a lot more user-friendly. And you're welcome to explore these however you want. So let's go to the WAVE website. And I'm going to show you what resources we have to explore stream and river data. So if you go back to this data tab here and click on it, we have this kind of data overview page on our website. And here you're going to see our data dashboard, as well as other data exploration tools. So let's start with the dashboard. Give it a second to load. All right. So this dashboard right now has all volunteer stream monitoring data from 2019 to present. We're planning to continue adding previous years, but we started with 2019. So there's 4 years of data. You can use the map to zoom in to your particular site here. and click on it. And then you can hover over it to see what it's called. You can scroll down and then explore the data submitted for that site. This site actually doesn't have a lot of data submitted for it. So I'm gonna choose a different site. I'm gonna go back to that Doherty Creek that I mentioned. So if I'm not exactly sure which dot it is, then I'm gonna come here and I can just type Doherty Creek. I don't know why I did that. Doherty Creek, south of Meadowbrook Road Bridge. This is the one I want. All right, so that's how I found my station. And then I can come down here and I can look at the baseline data for all of 2022. It has 2021 data, has 2020 data. So I can look at each year's of data. This graph has all the baseline measurements, all the baseline parameters. If it looks a little busy, I can go underneath here and click on basically the legend to remove some of the clutter, and I can just see a few parameters at once. And then if I want to download this chart, I can click on this link here right below the chart that says download as a PNG. See what I'm gonna zoom in. Download as a PNG file, download as an image basically. And I click on it, yes I did. And then it's gonna pop up. Which screen is it popping up in? Popped up on another window. It's going to pop up an image of that chart, which can be pretty useful if you want to share that with other people. Okay. This site also actually has nutrient data. So I can click on nutrient data to see a graph of the total phosphorus samples that were collected. Looks like they have total phosphorus samples 2019, 2020, and 2021, but not in 2022. What we've done here is we've color coded each bar to indicate if it's exceeding the state criteria for level of phosphorus or not. So the orange months are exceeding the state criteria for amount of phosphorus in the stream. The green are below. So you can read about that criteria in the description below. And then this site I chose because it also has thermistor data, which is our continuous temperature sensor data. I'm going to select Celsius for units instead of Fahrenheit because we're always collecting our data in Celsius. And you can see warm, cool, cold water classification. So our streams are classified as cold water streams, warm water streams, cool water streams, based in part on the water temperature over the entire season, as well as what fish assemblages they're finding in that stream. And so you can look at these continuous temperature sensors, which volunteers are deploying into the stream. Some of you may be doing this. We then they ship the thermistor sensor at the end of the season back to us. It's entered into SWMS, and then we extract that data from SWMS to create this dashboard. So you can see the temperature every hour throughout the season and get a sense for the general trend. And this stream is potentially, it's hard to say if it kind of looks like it would be a cold water trout stream because it looks like the max temperatures during the season are in this cold water category, which is kind of the background, what the background of the graph is showing. But anyway, you can explore with this dashboard the data that you've collected, read about what it means, what the charts might be indicating, and feel free to download the charts and make use of them. You can also look at what the watersheds are for the stream you've selected. So this Doherty Creek stream, I click on this watersheds tab, and then I can see, oh, it's in the East Branch Pecatonic River watershed, which flows in generally as part of the Pecatonica River watershed basin, which is ultimately a part of the Mississippi River basin. And then you can look at the land use of those watersheds from the small to the big watersheds. So you can get a sense for what land uses might be impacting water quality on your stream or river that you're monitoring. I think the last thing I wanted to share was that you can download all this data on our dashboard as well. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see this button that says View Download Baseline Data. And this is everything that you've entered into SWMS in basically a table. And you can download all 2022 data or all the years of baseline data for that site. And this will pop out an Excel file. So again, if you wanted to do any kind of analysis yourself or share the data, have it all in one place, you can download it in this dashboard. Okay, so that's the dashboard. Let's go back to the WAVE website. So again, we are back on the WAVE website. We are going to the data tab. And we're going to look at other data exploration tools. There's, how much time do we have? 2 more that I want to share. One is going to be really quick, Wisconsin Water Search. This is super cool. All these tools are pulling data from SWMS. So that's where all this data is coming from, just Wisconsin surface water data. So I'm going to type in Doherty Creek again. It's a nice example into this Wisconsin Water Search. Why do I always have trouble finding this one? Usually this doesn't happen. Maybe I'll do Pheasant Branch because that one seems to be more reliable. Pheasant Branch Creek. And you can select which stretch of the stream or river. We have very long streams and rivers you want to look at. So you click on it. And what Wisconsin Water Search does is it tells you the stream classification. It tells you if the stream or river is officially impaired in terms of the Clean Water Act, what it's impaired for, and what the pollutants are. If the stream or river has had an official assessment by a DNR biologist, you can, which they all have at some point in time, not necessarily super recently, you can read an overview, basically the report, that gives more context about the health of that stream or river. So this is what I find really useful. You can click on the Monitoring and Projects tab to see recent monitoring events. This is all pulled from SWMS. You can see all the monitoring projects that might be happening on that stretch of stream or river. And then you can see what fieldwork events have been submitted for that stretch of stream or river. And you can view the data. So let's say I wanted to view the data. I want to go to something more recent for Pheasant Branch at Middleton High School. This is my stream site. Click on the data here, the data button, and it's going to show me all the data for that stream site. So I like this because it provides more context. It's not just the data itself, but it's also telling me what the issues are with water quality for that site. Okay. So the very last thing I want to share is the surface water data viewer, which you can get to again on our data page. So click on DNR Surface Water Data Viewer. And you're going to have to launch the application. This is a DNR web mapping tool that pulls all of its information from SWMS. So let's launch it. Okay. So since it's pulling its information from SWMS, we're going to be interacting with this map of Wisconsin. And what I'm going to do is in the top right, there's a search box. I'm going to type in, let's do Pheasant Branch Creek. It's actually easier to find your site if you type in the station number, the station ID number, it'll come up right away. I found, I typed in Pheasant Branch Creek and it didn't like that. Maybe if I just do Pheasant Branch, maybe Creek isn't in the name. That works a little bit better. So there's 40 results because there's probably a lot of monitoring projects and monitoring sites. So I want to look at stations on Pheasant Branch with recent data. And I'll see here my site, Pheasant Branch at Middleton High School. So I can click on that. It's going to zoom into it. It's going to tell me all kinds of information, like when the last fieldwork date was. Zoom in a little farther. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So you can really zoom in and see where it is. And then if you want to see monitoring data for that station, there's a little button here. Again, how zoomed in am I? All right. There's a little button here that says link to monitoring data. So you click on that, takes you back to this page, which we've seen before, right? So I can see all the data of all time, you know, it's a little hard to interact with. There's no nice charts or visuals, but it is all there. And I can use this drop down to look at specifically, let's do, is there dissolved oxygen somewhere? Where's dissolved oxygen? I thought I saw it. Dissolved oxygen percent saturation. And then it shows me the dissolved oxygen percent saturation data over time. So that's kind of how you use the surface water. I need to hide my thing up here. How do I do that? Hide floating meeting controls. Surface water data viewer, where was that? Sorry, I have too many tabs open right now. Okay, surface water data viewer. That's the basics of how you look for your site in the surface water data viewer. You can click on show layers up here and you can get a ton of data about the surface waters. So there's two I wanted to look at. Let me just remind myself what they were. Okay, we have assessments and impairments. These are the layers of the map that you can play with. So I'm going to select assessments and impairments, hit the plus button, and I can look at, I'm going to uncheck this one, and I just want to look at 303D listed impaired waters. These are waters listed as impaired under the Clean Water Act, basically. So I can see that my Pheasant Branch Creek here is listed as an impaired river or stream. And I can click on the listing details to learn more. You know, it's listed for phosphorus and sediment, it looks like. So you can read about, you know, why it's look like chlorides as well. Lots of problems with this urban stream. So that's kind of one thing you can play with. You can look at delisted waters that might have been restored, etc. So you can play around with that map layer. The other thing, I'm going to uncheck that because I don't want to look at that anymore, was fisheries management here. There's a fisheries management layer, which I'm going to select. And this is where you could see, like, if I only wanted to see trout waters. And specifically, I want to know if it's a class 1 trout stream, class 2, class 3. They're color coded on the map. Then I can, you know, see all of the trout waters. I can figure out if my stream is a classified trout stream, etc. There's tons of layers, map layers in here. I'm not familiar with all of them. That's just a few of them that might be interesting, but you're welcome to explore to your heart's desire. This is all public information and it's all built from data submitted by volunteers and biologists into SWMS. All right. So that, I believe, is all I have for you today. If you have any questions or need assistance with anything I've talked about, just email us at wave@extension.wisc.edu. That email address is on our website there, and we can help, absolutely. There's a lot of other tools out there for exploring data, but these are some of the kind of core ones we use in Wisconsin, particularly because it's connected to SWMS. So I will stop there and take any questions. If you've had enough for the day, you can sign off. That's fine. But thanks for joining.